Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sports 7 April podcast on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon, April 29th, and we will be discussing the White Sox-Orioles situation down in Baltimore. Today with me is Joel on the phone.
Hello?
So, today was an unprecedented event in Major League Baseball with the White Sox-Orioles game being played without a crowd. The Orioles won 8-2, which wasn't much of a game, but it was still a historic event for Major League Baseball. What are your thoughts on if the game should have been played, Joel?
Well, it's really tough to say. Because they'd already canceled the last two games. So for a lot of reasons, you might think, well, why they had to play today, too. But I guess the reasoning was that the White Sox were already in town, and, the MLB kind of wanted to at least get one game in that series so they didn't have to reschedule three later on. But, I don't know, it's really tough to say because, no crowd at all. It's a complete loss in ticket sales right there, for sure. But then, something about it just felt wrong. I don't know about you. I was watching a little bit of it on TV earlier, and when Chris Davis homered in the first inning, it was eerie how silent it was.
I don't know. It was a different experience. I don't know if I necessarily liked it or didn't like it, but I remember it was towards the later innings. The Orioles announcers were doing their Masters voices since it was so quiet and eerie in the ballpark. I think it was just a cool event that it will probably never happen again. That just should be noted. It's not that. I don't think it's that big of a deal per se.
I think it is because I think. Either they should have had the game with fans, or they shouldn't have had it at all. Honestly, you know what I mean. I don't think it was worth having for just something like this because you had plenty of people outside who were just watching the game for free, and then that's kind of I don't know if you're the Orioles, it's why don't we take advantage of that? And then on the fan side, it's why can't they let us watch the game? But obviously, things in Baltimore just haven't really cooperated.
Yeah, I see your point there. There wasn't really much going on in this afternoon in Baltimore. You could see the like you said, you could see the fans out there watching the game without being being attacked or anything by the crowds. But the only thing is, if they did open this game to the public, and then the protesters ended up getting in the ballpark and starting riots, that would have looked absolutely horrible for the Orioles organization and MLB. That would have been a huge security risk. And I just don't think MLB wanted to take that chance and let protesters maybe into the ballpark.
I guess in a way that's possibly true, but at the same time, MLB sporting events in the sporting parks in the U.S. are some of the most heavily guarded places. They got the most security. So in that sense, I don't know, but I guess they got a huge open field. They could have gone there. So like I said, why would you have the game at all, though, if you're not going to have any fans? I think that takes away the experience for everyone, obviously, like we said, the protesting is quieted down in Baltimore, so in that sense, I kind of wondered, maybe this would have been a good chance to have a game, but then maybe they were afraid things would pop up again if they did. I feel like that would have been, if they could have played today, I think that would have been a nice break for everything for the fans. Obviously, the last two games being canceled, it's I think this would have been good for the people, but at the same time, I do understand why it wasn't played. The last two weren't played, but today I don't think should have been played in front of no one.
Yeah, like you were talking about, baseball is a sport that tends to bring people together, tends to lessen the severity of situation, and just it can be a break from reality, which is maybe what these Baltimore people needed at the end. But also, there's also, like I said, the security risk that I don't think Major League Baseball wanted to risk. Which, if they wanted to do that, then they shouldn't have just played the game in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. It's just that you look at several other instances when baseball came and really helped everyone. I know 9/11, it took some time. But then when they finally got the games back, look at the Yankees run that season. They're nearly winning the World Series and the whole country basically cheering for them. And then you just look as far back as 2013, the Boston Marathon bombings. Yes, the Red Sox did take a couple days off, but that situation was different. That was the whole city was shut down. I know Baltimore has adopted the curfew, but remember when the Red Sox came back? They won that day against the Royals. I believe it was April 20th, 2013. Yeah, when they came back. They had the unique jersey that said Boston on the front. That just seemed like a real rallying point for the city, and then that propelled the Red Sox to win the World Series that year. So I'm not saying it was at the same effect for Baltimore, but I think, I don't know, just having a game there, don't you think that would make quite a difference for the fans with everything that's been going on?
It would make a difference, but it's not going to be the same effect that was in Boston. Boston, that was a horrible tragedy that took place. Which baseball was able to bring the city together and kind of heal the city. With Baltimore, it's more of an uprising where you have two types of people pitted against each other, which baseball could maybe bridge the gap a little bit, but it wouldn't have the same thing. It wouldn't be as much of a rallying call for the Orioles as it was for the Red Sox back in 2013.
I know what you mean, but I think it could have been something that would have calmed people down. They could be focusing their attention towards something else. Do you see what I'm saying, though? It's like, I felt like things were at the point today where there wouldn't have been any problems out at the ballpark at Camden Yards. If they had played today, I feel like the fans would have had something else to worry about. They're watching a baseball game, they get into that. And then when it's done, hopefully they go home and they forget about it. But I don't know. I think it's more frustrating and unfair to Orioles fans that they weren't even given a chance to go to a game.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really up in the air. I agree with you. It's kind of hard to play a game without fans, but the game almost had to be played because this was the only time the White Sox were going to be in Baltimore this year, and it's hard to make up so many games. I just think it's kind of just a neat historical event in my perspective right now. That's all it'll be for the next. That'll be noted in the next 100 years or whatever. It's just gonna go down in the baseball books as the only game in MLB history with no fans. I saw a stat earlier that the previous smallest attendance at a game was 6 fans back when baseball was just getting formed. So I just think it's a cool historical factor right now. It shouldn't be made too much of, I don't think.
In a way, I see it. I agree. I mean, 10 years from now, we'll look back at this, and I guarantee you people will forget about these riots, unless they get dramatically worse. But, I mean, I think the thing that people are going to remember from this is going to be this game. Because you never see this anymore in sports. It's either completely canceled. So, but I don't know. I guess the interesting thing to look at is this weekend. The series, the Orioles, they were supposed to host the Tampa Bay Rays. That's going to be in Tampa. How weird is that?
Oh, I think that's probably worse than playing this game in front of no fans at all. It gives the Rays so much more of an advantage playing at their home ballpark, even though the Rays fans don't really turn out to their games all that much. But I think that's so stupid. I remember the last time this happened a couple years ago. I was watching a home team play on the road. I can't remember the situation at all. But it's just not a good idea by baseball by any stretch.
I mean, yeah, we've seen other things. We've seen the Cleveland Indians go to, I believe, Milwaukee. They played there. They played home games there when Cleveland has been filled with snow. Or, teams like the Rockies have had to go because their ballpark has been snowed in. But, this is completely different. There's no reschedule. This isn't at a neutral site. They said they were refusing to do it at Nationals Park. For whatever reason, I could not understand that. I don't know about you.
Yeah, that makes absolutely no sense. Playing at the Nationals ballpark this weekend, or even I know the Pirates are going to be out of town. Playing at PNC Park, either one of those two would be more of a neutral site than playing it at Tampa Bay Stadium. That's just ridiculous. Than playing it in Tampa.
I completely agree. I mean, it's like every team gets their fair share of home games. Why do they need to get more?
Exactly.
And the thing is, if they stay in D.C. and they play that game, you think about it, most of Baltimore's fans will be able to make their way over there.
Exactly. Baltimore's not that far from D.C. in the first place.
Exactly. I guess they were afraid about the riots. I just felt like all of this was just too much of a knee-jerk reaction. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And I just wish they could have. I wish they had thought a little bit more, put more thought into this. They kind of waited a little bit. I understand, canceling those first 2 games. No one's going to question them about that. But then, maybe last night they realized, okay, I think we could either get this game off with fans or we're not going to play this game at all. Because this was, it's neat looking at it and seeing a baseball game happening like that, but I can imagine in Baltimore they would have preferred otherwise.
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit of a reaction from the commissioner, the new commissioner, Rob Manfred. This is one of his first big decisions he's had to make as commissioner, taking over taking over this year. So I don't know. Maybe it's just him being nervous, him not being able to think it through 100%. I think he'll be able to get better and maybe get this right in the future.
Yeah, I guess we'll see that, but I still stand by it. I didn't like that they played this today.
Yeah, me neither.
And I just saw another thing. It looks like the Orioles are actually going to be wearing their home uniforms while in Tampa. Another weird thing.
Yeah, there's just going to be a lot of interesting things that happen over the weekend. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us for this podcast for the Orioles White Sox series. Stay tuned. Make sure you check out our blog, sports7.sportsblogs.com, for more articles and podcasts. Thank you. Bye-bye.